Once upon a time, there was an Indian girl with long black braids and a streak of red down one side of the braids. They called her Painted Pony. Painted Pony was a Seminole, and her people lived in the Shenandoah Valley in Virginia. In the winter, they'd be up in the mountains, but in the spring, they'd come down, and the tribe would hunt deer and other wild game in the valley. And at the end of the summer, they'd have a powwow where all the Seminole in the area would come together to sing, dance, play games. And Painted Pony's favorite part is when the elders told stories. Her favorite story was the story of Falling Rock. Falling Rock was a teenage Seminole brave who decided one day to take a canoe and go downriver and see what was there. And he paddled away from the village one morning near where Goonie Creek entered into the river, and he paddled away. And nobody heard from him again for about 2 years. Well, it seemed Falling Rock had paddled down the Shenandoah all the way to where the waters emptied into the ocean. And there he met a girl and fell in love. And like Painted Pony, the girl also had long black hair, but not in braids. She just wore hers around like a crown, but it also had a red streak right down one side. And the other thing that was different was that she had a tail, not 2 legs, because she was a mermaid, and her people called her Lightning Fish. Well, Falling Rock fell in love with Lightning Fish, and he wanted her to come back with him to be with his people, the Seminole. And she agreed. So Falling Rock paddled all the way back up the streams that led into the Shenandoah and the Shenandoah to the Goonie Creek, where he had hoped to find his people camped for the summer. And Lightning Fish swam alongside the canoe and came back with him. But when they got to Goonie Creek, or the part of the Shenandoah where Goonie Creek enters, they couldn't find the Seminole. Instead, they found a bunch of white people shooting at each other, some in gray coats, some in blue coats, and all the deer had run away, and the Shenandoah Valley was just filled with gun smoke and noise. So Lightning Fish hid underwater, and Falling Rocks hid wherever he could, and they hoped that when the fighting ended, the Seminole people would come down out of the hills and they could get together. But it didn't happen, and as the weather got colder, Lightning Fish had to tell Falling Rock that it was really too cold in the water for her to stay any longer. So he said, "Fine, I need to find my people. So you swim back to the ocean, and when I can find my people, I'll tell them about us, and we'll figure out what to do then. Maybe we'll come get you. Maybe you can come back here, but I'll figure it out." So Lightning Fish swam back to her home, and Falling Rock waited out the winter. And in the spring, there was still fighting, but not very much. And eventually the gray coats and the blue coats went away, and the Seminole came down from the mountain, and Falling Rock was able to reunite with his people. And he told them all about Lightning Fish and how he wanted her to join them. And one of the elders said, "Well, you've got 2 problems. One is if it's cold up here, too cold up here for Lightning Fish this year, it's going to be too cold up for her up here next year. And we, the Seminole, have a problem with these whites shooting up the valley and all the deer disappearing. So tell me some more about this place where Lightning Fish comes from, and maybe we Seminoles should move there." So Falling Rock told him all about it, and he said, "It's warm all the time, and I've heard a story that there's a place farther south that's even warmer, where these things called coconuts fall out of the trees, and everybody gathers them up, and living is easy." And the elder said, his name was Graybeard. Graybeard said, "Well, maybe the Seminoles should move to this place." "Florida?" "Yes, Florida." So, okay, so he said, okay, here's the plan. We'll split up. Some of us will go downriver, and you can guide us in your canoe. And just in case we run into trouble with these blue coats and gray coats, we'll send the rest of our people up through the mountains. And then we'll meet wherever we meet, and we'll go from there. And that's what they did. And the part of the Seminole that went down the river, they followed, well, it's now called the Seminole Trail. They eventually made it to Florida. They made it all the way with Falling Rock leading. But the part of the tribe that went the mountain route, and I think it's now called the Skyline Drive, they got terribly lost. They went round and round and round and round, and without Falling Rock to guide them, they never made it, and nobody ever heard from them again. It's sad. But we know that they tried awfully long and awfully hard because they left so many signs up on the Skyline Drive of what they were trying to do and where they were trying to go. And you can still see those signs today. Every time you come around a corner on the Skyline Drive where there's a steep cliff and a view of the valley, the Seminole left a sign to each other, which said simply, "Watch out for Falling Rock." The end.